For a few years there, PopCap games dominated our PCs and mobiles with games like Plants vs Zombies and Peggle. So it was crazy to see a Peggle-inspired roguelike game show up in the latest Nintendo Direct. Nexus Games has somehow managed to mix their indie game with a pixel art style, Peggle-type gameplay, and an almost Dungeons & Dragons-like adventure, all in one. What's it like? Grab some pebbles, pick up a relic, and take aim as we review Peglin on Nintendo Switch. Hey, before we start busting some Peglins, would you mind liking and subscribing? It's the best way to help outlets like What's It Like get found, and I can't thank you enough for doing so. I also think at the time of posting this review, I'm only 20 subs away from 12,000. Thank you so much for your support. Peglin puts you into the role of a small goblin who's trying to recover his gold stolen by a dragon. To get your gold back and defeat the dragon, you must battle your way through hordes of slimes, knights, enchanted mirrors, and epic bosses. But you won't really be doing this the normal way. Combat is actually handled by popping Peglins, the pegs in the main area of your screen. You have orbs in your inventory which start with a humble stone to throw or a dull dagger, and eventually you will possess magical obelisks and lightning orbs. You hurl these orbs pachinko style down the playboard, accruing damage to deal as you go. You can hit gold Peglins to get coins, exclamation Peglins to get critical hits and double your damage, and reset Peglins to reactivate all of the Peglins on the boards. Unlike Peggle, you can take as many shots as your HP allows as your orbs reload after rotation, allowing the enemy to make one move during this phase. These mechanics on top of the orbs and their modifiers create a strategic element to all battles that boil down to risk, skill, and a bit of luck. Each battle offers up a different board, with some boards being static patterns, while others have moving parts to make things trickier. Another great feature is how the board changes during battles, especially during boss fights. At one stage of the game, I was battling a giant slime boss, which when he swallowed me, my launching point appeared inside the slime Peglin silhouette. The adventure part of the game is delivered via a branching overworld path of the three locations, which are a forest, castle, and mines, each with their own unique enemies and events. You choose your path by finishing the tile or event that you're on and then shooting in a direction at the bottom of the screen. It's rather simple to go where you want, but I did manage to get misdirected with some of the more animated boards. A strategic player will map out a path to maximize rewards and events while minimizing battles and collecting orbs and powerful relic modifiers. In my first playthrough, I was rushing through picking up any and all upgrades with reckless abandon, only to hit a wall at the final boss because I just simply couldn't do enough damage. The second time I was much more careful, planning out hitting the right tiles for the most treasure and upgrades. I faced the different bosses, well, except the final boss, and I was finally victorious. And then I started a new run straight away. Because it's such an addictive game loop, especially when a full run will only take you about an hour. This is where the value and replayability of the title come together. Admittedly, I was a bit unsure about the $30 Australian price tag, especially after being burnt before. But Peglin has an addictive charm to it, much like Balatro. Bosses and encounters change with each run, and while you may find some encounters that you did in the last run, knowing how to best tackle them makes you more efficient at getting through the story. Beating the game also unlocks the Crucible difficulty modifier, challenging the most stalwart goblins with punishing difficulty spikes, but offering up an even greater sense of achievement. After your first successful run, you can also use custom game options to set yourself up with a more difficult run, or abuse absolute power and give yourself some crazy gear to start with. Be warned though, as using custom settings will not unlock any achievements or items. Peglin is presented in a simple but charming pixel art style with unique enemies and level layouts. Your hero goblin is well animated and the spell effects look great. Hitting an enemy, especially with big damage, feels impactful thanks to the visual style when you hit, and the world is painted with a bright and varied palette. All of this is complemented by a simple yet happy and boppy soundtrack that seems to just really work well with the style of the game. Controls feel responsive and the game runs without a hitch, as one would expect. There's an encyclopedia which acts as a bestiary and guide to orbs, enemies and relics you've already encountered, allowing you to study up and plan out your next run. For my goblins who are looking for accessibility options, I'm pleased to report that you can choose static or animated prompts for better visual acuity, reduce screen shake, as well as reduce the vignette intensity for a clearer overview of the screen. You can also pull up a map while choosing your destination to help you plan out your route. Due to the turn-based nature of the combat, you can take as much time as you need between turns, as well as tap on the D-pad to fine-tune movement to really nail your shot. There are times when the ball may be hard to see after being launched, but before launching it there's a bright white aiming reticle when you shoot, which makes aiming all the easier. If you're short on time, you can also speed up the game to go faster at the press of a button, but to me the satisfaction of hitting a perfectly aimed shot was far too appealing to miss. Peglin is one of those unexpected delights just waiting to be discovered. It has a fun, addictive and replayable gameplay loop that will keep you going back for more. The world of Peglin is bright and charming, with an interesting cast of characters and clever little touches that may go unnoticed at times. There's plenty to do to challenge yourself after completing your first run, and there's a lot of game here for the asking price. Peglin is a unique and fun concept that's an absolute blast to play. Now if you'll excuse me, I have some gold to recover and a date with a dragon. So, what's it like? Peglin is like Peggle, crossed with Slay the Spire. I award it an 86 out of 100. Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. The best way you can support me is to like and subscribe and continue watching my content if you enjoy it. But if you do want to go that bit extra, you can buy me a coffee or join our Patreon, which shows you behind the scenes of this channel. Thanks again.